Hi friends, welcome to what may or may not end up being a very controversial video on my channel. Let's just say I've had a lot of caffeine and don't come for me. Take it somewhere else. I don't want to deal with it. These are my opinions. I don't care if you like them. I don't care if you disagree with them. Actually, if you disagree with me, let me know down below too, because maybe I have it all wrong. I don't know, but these are my top 5 current issues with or opinions on consumerism, primarily in the book community, or influencers in the book community, because y'all just keep forgetting that there's influencers in the book space. Okay, let's start off with a hot take. Y'all aren't interested in those books. You're not interested in those books. Those books aren't good. They're not good. You know what's good? The marketing. We live in such a digital age. We live in such a Instagram focused, ad focused space right now and time that you don't care about that book. You don't like that book. You think you like that book because the marketing. Let's talk about fantastic marketing, terrible book. Okay? This book had me interested, right? Just based on the marketing alone. I'm sorry, we have vampires, we have feminist rage, we have all these things. The marketing was amazing. The amount of people who got to pre-read it, the amount of people who were sent copies, the amount of people who were talking about it, like the marketing itself, by the publisher, like, stupendous. This book, absolutely trash. 9 times out of 10, what you see is marketing getting people so hyped and everybody sharing everything and talking about everything that when that book finally comes out, you're like, I can't not like it now, right? Like, it's like when you go on vacation and you're like, okay, I'm so pumped, I'm so ready, I'm gonna do it. And then you get there and you're like, fuck, it's hot and I'm sweaty and I'm miserable and I wanna go home. It's kind of the same thing. A couple years later, you're looking over those photos and you're like, that was a good vacation, but do you remember how awful it kind of was at the same time? Like, I feel like that's what happens with perfectly curated books like that. Like, the marketing itself, like, what ends up happening is people buy into that hype, and that hype kind of carries you through a little bit. Like, it gives you like a little bit of rose-colored glasses where you're like, but everybody loves this. Everybody said, you know, it was going to be fantastic. Like, I'm looking for these things that they were marketing it as, and it doesn't have any of those things. And we all fall into that trap. 9 times out of 10, you could go back and read a book that was super overhyped. Your enjoyment, your rating, all of that would be so much lower given a little bit of time. Okay, let's talk about one that kind of ties into that one. An influencer is an influencer no matter what sphere they're in. I'm sorry, y'all. You need to start disclosing your ads. A YouTuber or a booktuber, a bookstagrammer, all of that, an influencer is an influencer. And some of us, because I'm guilty of this too, need to realize that these people are being paid to talk about these books. These people are being paid to push these certain books. These people are being sent you know, the copies for free. They want to keep in good graces with these publishers. So they're like, yeah, I loved all of these books, because they're like, yeah, this book actually sucked, but I want to make sure that I get the good books in the future, right? Like, I'm not saying that everybody's like this, but I see it so much. One of my biggest pet peeves is people not being honest and feeling like you're really doing authors a disservice. You're doing a publishing house a disservice by lying and saying that you like books when you don't, just because you're an influencer. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. All right, let's talk about instant gratification in the book community. This one, y'all are going into debt for some really stupid shit. You do not need 7 copies of the same goddamn book. If you have a book on your shelf and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself, there's this book coming out, it's got a fancy special edition that I want, buy that one, get rid of the old one. Y'all, like I love me a special edition, especially if it's a book by an author that I know I'm gonna love, or it's a book that I already own that they came out with a beautiful special edition for. I'm gonna buy it, right? But I'm gonna get rid of the old one. I'm not buying bookish candles anymore. I'm not buying like any kind of bookish merch except for shirts because I can wear these. But I'm not buying bookmarks. I'm not buying book candles. I'm not buying random shit that goes on my shelves. I don't need a passport holder, right? Like, I don't need a ton of bookish cups. Like, I don't need, it's the need part of this. And what really gets me is we are in this consumerism kind of like stage in life where we're depressed, right? Like, as a whole, as a community, we are depressed. And I think it's because we miss a lot of like that community aspect. We are community creatures, and we, after COVID, had a really hard time kind of getting back into friends and getting out of your house and, you know, like being out in the world and experiencing life. And so what it became, especially during COVID, when we were spending so much time by ourselves, is buying. It was like a lot of consumerism, and the book community and like publishers and stores and things like that kind of caught onto it. And my grand awakening was, I was in a Target and they had a little book candle that they were selling for $25, and it was called like bookstore, and I was like, absolutely not. If it's in Target, I know it's a fucking trend, right? So then I started looking at my consumption and looking at consumption of my friends or people that I follow, and I'm like, oh my god, I saw a video of a woman with 12 special editions of one book, and I'm like, why? Pot calling kettle black here. Obviously I have a lot of books. These are over, I think when we moved into our first apartment, when Rocco and I first moved into our apartment, I got rid of over 300 books. I was like, why am I hoarding this shit, right? We need to stop. If you can afford it, absolutely. If you're going into debt to buy these things, if you are using Klarna, if you are putting them on a credit card, please stop. You don't need it. You don't need it. All you are doing is feeding this cycle, and it's exactly where, whatever, society wants us to be, right? It's right where society wants us to be, in debt and miserable and just buying these things for instant gratifications, and it's gonna continue to keep you down. You don't need all that crap. And the book community has become a farce when it comes to the amount of money that we spend on shit that we don't need. Okay, I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it, and this one is probably going to hurt a lot of feelings. Amazon is ruining the publishing industry. And the amount of time I see people on the internet talking about, how can I put this in the best way? Okay, J.K. Rowling, right? So we have J.K. Rowling, who is an obvious TERF, and people are like, hey, we're not supporting, we're not buying, we're not doing all of those things, right? Because her money's being donated to actively hurt and harm a community. Okay, what do you think Bezos is doing? Like, what is happening? Like, what do you think Bezos is doing? What do you think is happening, or what's the difference between someone like that and somebody like Bezos, right? So the publishing industry itself, or the reason why this kind of came to mind for me, is there are books, like very specific books, like let's take my most favorite, The Martian, Audible exclusive, right? You cannot get that audiobook anywhere else. I'm not even sure, I think you can get the book from like the library, but you cannot get the audiobook because that is an Audible exclusive. Let's talk Kindle Unlimited, right? So you have Kindle Unlimited, you have all these authors who are so beloved, who have made themselves available on Kindle Unlimited, and people are like, oh, I pay $15 a month, I can read all of your books. Like, Kindle Unlimited as a whole is a scam. Like, these authors are not being traditionally published, or struggling to traditionally publish, or selling themselves short thinking, well, I'm on Kindle Unlimited, people can already read it. Like, maybe they think that they can't get traditionally published, right? Like, that really bugs me. There are some Kindle Unlimited specific books that you can't get anywhere else. Like, what is happening, and how are we okay with it? We are essentially giving the power over to Amazon. Now let's talk consumerism. So we talk about, where is Bezos's money going, right? How are his employees treated? What is his business doing for the environment? Who needs that much money to fly to another fucking country to have this exorbitant wedding, and for what? Like, let's talk about it. We are funding that, and the impact that he has, sorry, my cats are fighting, and the impact he has on our planet, our environment, and our society, y'all are just giving your money to him? Like, what is happening? He is like a 5'6" bald guy, and I have a firm rule that I abide by. I don't take the opinion or care about any middle-aged white man whose head I can see over, right? Like, I'm 5'10". I'm seeing over Bezos's head. Like, I just don't understand why we fight for certain things and we don't fight for others. Like, this man is getting into the market of medicine, therapy, vehicles. Like, oh my god, you guys, like, we need to detach. You need to detach from the teat that is Amazon. The only reason people use Amazon anymore is because they are incapable of waiting a little bit longer to receive a book in the mail. Yes, there are libraries. Yes, there are used bookstores. Yes, there are other bookstores in your community that you can go to. Now, I have heard the argument, I don't live in a place that has a library, which I am blessed. A lot of us are blessed to have amazing libraries in our system. Not everybody is. I understand that. But places There's so many bookstores that deliver online, y'all. Can you use the internet? You mean to tell me that you can find a fucking extra rare Labubu that you'll spend $300 on, but you can't go to you can't find a bookstore online? Like, you can't order from Barnes and Noble? You don't want to wait? Like, that's what it is. Like, that's what that tells me. And it fills me with so much rage. So much rage that people cannot stop supporting Amazon because we are greedy, because we want it now, because we want it delivered to our door tomorrow. If you are still shopping on Amazon, you are lazy and you are greedy. I don't know what else to tell you. And the last one, this one actually might piss people off the most. You critically reviewing and reading every book is killing your love of reading. Like, I don't know how to tell you that it's not. You go into, picture this. We're back on vacation again, okay? We're back on vacation. You are critically reviewing the rides, the food, the weather, right? What are you doing when you're doing that? You're taking yourself out of the moment. You're thinking, you're critically reviewing what other people are wearing, right? What your drink tastes like. All of that. Like, why? Why are you doing that? You're doing that with your books too. Reading is a journey, it is an experience, and it does not need to be critically reviewed. It is a hobby. You are not in college. You are not in college. You are not being quizzed on it. And the reason why I think this is happening is because people are reviewing in a way that gets them attention. It's become sort of a competition. Like, I have read this book and oh my God, I fucking hated it, but this girl loved it. But let me do my review about how much I hated it, but I need a leg to stand on. So I need to make sure that this video is popular. So I need to have like all my ducks in a row about why I did or didn't like something, right? It is okay to just say, hey y'all, I liked this book. Or hey, I disliked this book, right? You don't always have to have like all of the A, B, C, D of things, like pacing, plot, characters. Like, you don't need to do that. You can just be like, this is why I like this book, man. Like, these characters kick ass. This is why I didn't like these characters. Oh, one of the characters is racist, I didn't like it. Like, there are different ways to read and absorb books, and unless you are in college or being paid to somehow like directly being paid, somebody goes, I will pay you to review this book for me, critically review this book for me, you're wasting your time. You know how you can read more? Don't add however long to every book you read by sitting there and having to digest it and figure out why you did or didn't like it. You don't need to do that. My reviews for my books, this is what they look like, right? This is it. That's my review. What is it about? What did I think of it? That's literally it. Rated on content, expectation versus reality. Characters, did I like the plot twist? Was there a plot twist? That's literally it. And this is only so I have like, because I have the memory of a goldfish because I have horrible ADD. It's just so I have essentially a little journal of what I read and what I thought of it. And I have to fill this out immediately afterwards or else it all just goes out of my head. And guess what? You are not less of a reader if you can't critically break down a book. Like, that pisses me off. Pisses me off. People are like, oh, it's a vibes read. I'm guilty of saying that. It's not a vibes read. It is a book that I enjoyed for a different reason than I think some critical readers may, right? Like, I hate when people are like, oh, it doesn't have a lot of substance. It's a book. Like, it's a book. It's a hobby. Let people just enjoy it the way that they want to enjoy it. All right, y'all. I got a little bit heated. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. I just have a lot of strong feelings about some of these things. I mean, I could do more. I'm sure I have more than I can think of, but I digress. Let me know your most unpopular opinion in the bookish community down below. I would love to add that to this simmering pot of anger that I currently have over social media. But thank you guys for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video.